Today I want to show you one of my favorite techniques, soft brow tinting. And by soft, I mean the kind of result where nobody can tell your brows have been professionally done. No harsh lines, no drawn-on look, just naturally defined brows that frame the face beautifully. My client today has lovely natural brows, but they are a bit sparse in some areas, so our goal is to fill those gaps without making anything look heavy or artificial. Let me start with preparation, which honestly is half the battle. I am using ZOLA toner to hydrate the skin first. This is a step that many people skip, but it makes such a difference. When the skin is properly hydrated, the tint adheres more evenly, and you get a much smoother result. Then I apply Lash Plex to condition the brow hairs themselves. Think of it as a primer. It protects the hair and helps it absorb color more uniformly. I always say, great results start with great prep. Now I am cleaning the brows with ZOLA WOW CLEAN. This is a moisturizing cleanser that removes any oils or residue from the skin surface. If there is any product buildup or natural oils sitting on the skin, the tint will not take evenly. You will end up with patchy results, and that is the last thing we want. A clean canvas makes everything easier. Alright, now we move to one of the most important steps, wax correction. I am carefully removing all the stray hairs outside the desired shape. This is where the architecture really comes together. The key is knowing exactly which hairs to keep and which to remove. Every single hair matters when you are working with a natural soft look. I use wax because it gives cleaner results than tweezing. It grabs even the finest hairs and leaves a really smooth surface. I am refining the shape now, paying attention to the borders. You want the edges to be clean but not razor sharp. That would look too artificial. The goal is a soft, natural-looking border that mimics how brows naturally grow. This is really where experience matters, because you need to make hundreds of tiny decisions about which direction to shape, how much arch to create, where to thin out, and where to keep fullness. Now, with the shape set, I am doing final detailing with a fine brush. Creating a clean base before we start tinting is essential. Any stray product or loose hairs will interfere with the color application. I like to take my time here. Rushing this step is the fastest way to a mediocre result. And here comes the fun part. We are starting the actual tinting. I am using a cream-based colorant, and this is important. I apply it only where there are gaps, only where the brows need it. I am not painting over the natural hairs that already have good color. This is the whole secret to avoiding that drawn-on look. When you saturate everything uniformly, including hairs that are already dark, you end up with a flat, heavy appearance. But when you selectively fill just the sparse spots, the result looks completely natural. I am working with a very thin angled brush here, almost like a calligraphy pen. Each stroke follows the natural direction of hair growth. The technique is essentially building a framework. You create the structure first, then you go back and fill in. It is a lot like painting, honestly. You would never slap color on a canvas all at once. You build it up layer by layer. Now I am combing through the brows with a spoolie to remove any excess product and blend everything seamlessly. This step is crucial. The spoolie distributes the remaining tint more evenly and prevents any harsh concentration of color in one spot. You want that gradient effect where the color is slightly more intense at the tail and softer toward the front. Here is something that many beginners get wrong. They apply the tint once and call it done, but with soft tinting, you need to build up the color gradually. I am going back now for a second application, focusing on the areas that need a bit more depth. The beauty of this approach is control. You can always add more, but you can never take it away. So it is always better to start lighter and work your way up. I am holding the skin taut with one hand while applying with the other. This gives me much better precision, especially around the arch and the tail where the detail work really matters. You can see how the brows are starting to take shape now. There is more definition, more structure. but it still looks completely natural. That is the sweet spot we are aiming for. Now I am deepening the color just a touch more on some specific areas. The tail needs a bit more intensity to create that natural gradient I was talking about. And around the arch, I want just enough definition to give the brow some structure without making it look angular or forced. Every face is different, so you really have to read the features and adapt your approach. Alright, the tint has developed nicely. I am checking the overall balance now, making sure both brows match in terms of intensity and shape. Remember, brows are sisters, not twins. Perfect symmetry does not exist in nature, so I am looking for harmony rather than an exact copy. Now I am removing the excess tint with a cotton pad. This is the reveal moment, honestly. You wipe away the product and see what you have created underneath. The color has taken beautifully, warm, soft, natural. No harsh lines anywhere. I always hold my breath a little at this stage because this is where the result really shows itself. For the finishing touch, I am styling the brows with Ochre gel. I brush them down first to get the hairs in place, then sweep them upward for that lifted, modern shape. The gel holds everything in position and adds a nice, groomed finish. This final step ties the whole look together. And there you have it. Soft, naturally tinted brows that enhance the face without overpowering it. No drawn-on effect, no harsh borders, just beautifully defined brows that look like they were born this way. This is what soft tinting is all about, enhancing what is already there, not creating something artificial. If your brows are a bit sparse or uneven, this technique might be exactly what you need.